Alleigh Marré is my next guest, Executive Director of the American Parents Coalition. And a lot going on in a lawsuit in Kansas against Roblox for protecting pedophiles over children. Alleigh, greatly appreciate you being here. First of all, for people that don't know, what is Roblox?
So it's an online gaming platform, but what makes it a little bit different than a lot of your quote traditional video games is that it has this social component to it. So there's 151 million daily users, and essentially it's an all ages platform, and anyone can create an account, and you go in and there are these different experiences or games that are created by the users, and you enter into this social chat gaming experience with a group of people, many of whom you probably don't know, and you play this game. So as far as how it endangers children, I mean, you could create an account, be a 10, 12, 15-year-old kid, enter in a chat with, who knows who from anywhere across the country, and there's no real age verifications that are reliable in place or identity verifications. So you have no idea who your child is interacting with. They may say, or they may even think they're interacting with their friends or kids their own age, and it ends up being a completely different person. So it's a real breeding ground for predatory behavior and child predators.
And you say despite widespread knowledge of grooming and exploitation of children, Roblox still sells itself as a safe, child-friendly space, fails to implement basic safeguards to protect kids. That's your concern, right?
Totally. So they advertise themselves as A, being educational, but B, the most safe platform for kids on the internet. And first and foremost, I think parents need to understand that any sort of gaming or social platform that is connected to the internet is not safe for kids. We have a lot of resources on our website for parental controls, but parental controls are not always good enough. And without a parent really being in there and in the weeds and supervising it on a minute-to-minute, day-to-day basis, there's really not enough in place. And gaming is really something that should happen with kids in real life, offline. It's much different. I think one of the biggest problems is my generation, millennials, we grew up with video games, and it has changed so much. It is no longer sit on the couch beside your friend and play a racing game. You are now interacting with complete strangers on the internet across the country, and you have no idea who your kids are talking to.
Right. You're open up to the entire world, right?
That's right.
And so when you say there's a social component to this, it's not just a game. You're not just out there playing a racing game or whatever it might be. You're interacting with people that you become, quote unquote, friends with, but they are complete strangers. Whatever happened to people saying, beware of strangers? Because now we interact with strangers. We all do it on social media and gaming platforms every single day, 24 hours a day, complete strangers. We have no idea what their intentions are or who they are or where they are, right?
That's right. I think there's a false sense of security that comes, at least from the parental perspective, of having your kids at home. You think that your home is a safe place and nothing can happen to your kids in your house. But as soon as you give them unfettered access to the internet, even on a platform that you may think is safe, you're inviting anyone and everyone in through your front door. And that's really how parents need to think of it, is that this is truly opening the doors to your home. This lawsuit in Nebraska is broad in nature because they're focusing on the consumer protection angle and the false advertising by Roblox in claiming that they're a safe platform. But there are countless examples across the country of young kids who have interacted with strangers and then become victim to sexual abuse, assault, and trafficking in real life. And there are a number of ways that these predators go after kids. There's luring them, you start a chat with them and lure them into real life situations. There is just pure cyberbullying. And then there are also very bad actors online that are part of groups, for example, like 764, which are truly domestic terror organizations. And they're convincing kids to participate in self-harm, send nude photos, and all kinds of other things that are really, really dangerous physically and emotionally. And it is much more widespread than parents understand.
Okay, see, parental, limitations on the phone. We have that on our phones. We don't allow social media at all. But these gaming platforms concern me. What can people do? Can they just say no to Roblox? That's just it? And how does this lawsuit play out, do you think, from Nebraska?
Well, thankfully, there are many lawsuits happening at the same time. There are 7 states that have similar lawsuits to Nebraska. So people are waking up and understanding what a risk this is to kids. I don't want to shut the door on these platforms, maybe figuring out a way to set appropriate and actual functioning parental controls, but we're not there yet. And that's a really important thing to remember. And I'm a parent myself. I have 4 kids, so I understand how hard it is to police these things. And also, most parents, we want to prepare our kids for the real world, and there's danger in the real world. However, it doesn't need to happen in this way. And you can still be permissive with allowing your children to play video games that does not have the social component. There's a huge difference between having friends over sitting on the couch and their social component being sitting side by side, beating each other in a racing game or whatever it is, versus a complete stranger or people who they may think are kids their own age on the internet, but there's no way to know. So for parents who are looking for that sort of middle ground,
yeah,
kids can still game. Screen time is not the be all end all. I mean, life is life. There are screens everywhere.
I get it.
We're going to use them, but there are controls that you can put in place to ensure that they happen in the real world and
with
are
us.
Human social. Exactly.
Yeah. Madden is still safe. Good to know, because the kids here have an obsession with Madden, and they play football, and they sit on my couch, and sometimes I play. So
there
that's
you go.
still safe.
That's perfect.
Come back and give us an update on this case as it happens, please.
Will do.
Thank you very much. Good conversation. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.